Our story begins in Longmont, Colorado. On the afternoon of October 13th, 2021, 911 emergency dispatch received an alarming call.
911, address of the emergency.
Yes, hi. I'm at 20 Sicily Circle. I need an ambulance. Our post office guy was just shot. I heard 4 shots, and he's down. There's a FedEx guy checking on him right now. He is breathing.
Where is he bleeding from?
He's bleeding out of his mouth.
Did anyone witness this?
I don't know if anybody saw exactly. We saw someone run. We heard 4 shots.
Okay, which way did the person run?
Down Renaissance. So south on Renaissance.
Okay, what was that person
Avenue.
wearing?
A hoodie, blue mask. I couldn't identify him. I just saw a backside of a man running away after 4 shots. We have the police. I'm going to let you go.
Right.
Here's the body cam footage of a responding officer.
Can you give us a different map page?
1 second, I'll switch out.
2105 is Paul 8.
122, 240, 122.
Sim 219, we're at the corner of Heather Hill and Renaissance, and I'm out with Wheeler.
Copy, Heather Hill and Renaissance.
Go. Move up. Here.
Thompson, for the most part.
Bring him over.
Captain 69 to that?
Pick him up.
I'm not going to
Police! World! He's had no air.
No air.
Stand by. Just throw him on the bed. 1, 2, 3.
We were to give a description male, hoodie, possibly blue, and a blue mask.
Close off. Working on it. All of them? Rip them. Go.
Even 240 when we can. I need to know what the perimeter is right now.
Can I ask you to look out for the shooter and we'll take care of this?
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it.
I've got mostly the west setup. I've got the same 399 South Airport and Pike. Right. I've got 325 headed to South Airport and Clover Basin.
We'll get airway. Billy.
272.
The victim sustained multiple gunshot wounds. The incident took place in the Somerset Meadows neighborhood in Longmont. As technicians processed the scene for evidence, investigators spoke with witnesses. One citizen had interacted with the postal carrier minutes before the shooting. The woman had gotten her mail from the carrier and returned to her home. Shortly thereafter, she heard 4 gunshots. Multiple neighbors heard the shots as well and witnessed a man in a hoodie and mask flee the scene. Police contacted the local post office, and employees identified the victim as 33-year-old Jason Schaefer. Not long after, detectives received tragic news from the hospital. Jason had succumbed to his injuries. As multiple law enforcement agencies swept the area, Longmont police tracked down Jason's loved ones. Jason's mother, Lori, lived in Connecticut. Detective Josh Burke asked local law enforcement to make the death notification in person. Lori said that she heard a knock at the door. It was the Connecticut State Police. They informed her of her son's death and the limited information they had regarding the incident. Jason Schaefer was born on July 1st, 1988. Lori said he was perfect. Jason's father was only a part of his life for the first 2 years. When Jason was 3, his mother found love again with a United States Postal Service coworker. Lori said that Chris loved Jason and that the two were close. Jason's stepfather, Chris, said that he was a cool kid and a great athlete. Chris said that he and Lori never missed a game. At around 26 years old, Jason was searching for a new adventure. He moved roughly 2,000 miles away to the state of Colorado. Taking after his parents, Jason decided to work for the Postal Service. At the Longmont Post Office, he met Devin Schreiner and they began dating. Jason's parents met her and thought she was a great fit for their son. Lori said that Jason wanted a family, so when Devin got pregnant, he was thrilled. In 2015, Jason and Devin's son was born. Chris said that Jason fell in love with his little boy immediately. He said that it gave Jason a new purpose in life. A few years after their son was born, Jason and Devin went their separate ways, but Jason remained devoted to being a father. Devin would have their child for half the week, and Jason would have him for the other half. Jason's parents told detectives they last saw their son 3 weeks prior. He had just moved into a new apartment with his girlfriend, Rosa. Jason's parents said that it was the happiest they had seen him in a long time. Back in Longmont, investigators scrutinized the crime scene. Nothing from Jason or the mail van was missing, so robbery was ruled out. Based on evidence found at the scene, the shooter fired 5 times. Although 5 shots were fired, the medical examiner determined that Jason had only been struck 3 times, once in the back, once in the left eye, and once in the forehead. With multiple shots to the head and face, detectives believed it was a targeted attack by someone who knew him. Jason's forehead wound had stippling, indicating that it was a very close shot. While at the scene, a neighbor informed detectives that she had witnessed a shadowy figure standing across the street. The person appeared to have been waiting for Jason to be alone before approaching him. Detectives wondered who had the motive to kill Jason Schaefer. Within 2 hours of the shooting, with the help of neighbors, investigators began gathering surveillance video. A Ring doorbell had captured the area where the shooting occurred. The video showed the assailant walking across the street and around the back of Jason's mail van. Seconds later, the individual fled the scene. The camera wasn't close enough to show details of the suspect's appearance. However, it did reveal the direction they fled. Another neighbor's surveillance showed the person wearing loose-fitting dark clothing. It was evident that the shooter took steps to conceal their identity. Detectives circled back to Jason's family. They asked if there was any source of strife in Jason's personal life. His parents immediately pointed to his tumultuous relationship with his ex, the mother of his child, Devin Schreiner. Lori said that Devin became pregnant soon into the relationship and that the couple was still getting to know each other. She said their values weren't the same and the relationship deteriorated. Jason tried to get along and co-parent, but that wasn't going well. He ended up contacting a lawyer to set up a parenting plan. The latest development in the custody of their child was a request for increased custody filed by Jason 2 days before the shooting. Lori told detectives that the custody battle wasn't the only conflict between the former couple. Jason moved in with his girlfriend Rosa a few months before the shooting. Lori didn't think that was a good idea because Rosa was Devin's younger sister. Chris said that Jason was happy, so they tried to be happy for him. Detectives contacted Rosa at her workplace and informed her of what had happened. She was devastated. Investigators were able to verify with her supervisors that she was at work at the time of the shooting. They asked Rosa to report to the station for a formal interview. For the safety of Jason and Devin's child, police picked him up from daycare and brought him to the station. Rosa briefly reunited with the child and then sat for a formal interview.
I can only imagine what you're going through. I'm not even going to pretend to understand, but I just want to get to know you a little bit more, and we'll take it at your pace. If you want to take a break or anything, we can do that. Okay? It's okay. Yeah, I hear you. Very well. Lots going on. So just let me make sure I have all the names right. Your sister is Devin? Mm-hmm. Okay. Your current boyfriend is Jason. Right. Okay. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Okay. And Jason's last name? Schaefer. So obviously a lot of different dynamics with this relationship, just with Devin being your sister. Can you kind of walk me through, maybe by starting on how your and Devin's relationship was before you started the relationship with Jason? Complicated?
I was trying to think where to start because She hadn't been in our lives for 9 years.
Really? Tell me about that.
We all lived at our mom's house when we were all younger. She ended up leaving when she was about 16. Anyway, so she lived with our dad. And then she got in contact with us at the end of last year.
End of 2020?
End of 2020, yeah.
Okay.
So then at the beginning of this year, I moved in with her here in Longmont. We lived together for a bit in her house, and then we had an apartment together. And then there's a situation between her and I. She kicked me out, and then I started living with Jason.
And so you guys lived in that apartment for a little while, and I think you know I'm going to ask, but what happened between you two? And there is zero judgment coming from me, just so you know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all. I know sisters.
No, it's fine. There's just yeah, especially not her. I don't feel like it's her own sister.
Okay.
A situation with one of her, as she calls it, just between him and I.
And when you say one of her men, was it one of her boyfriends, or?
Yeah, because she is two.
Okay. So, what was his name?
Joseph. He was one of the ones I told them about.
Okay. Do you know his last name at all?
They said it.
Okay.
Starts with a C.
Okay. So you had an issue with Joseph?
They were kind of having an argument, and then I went over to his apartment to kind of help him anyways, and then it was...
And you helped Joseph?
Yeah, just like talking wise, make sure he was okay with what was going on. Anyways, and then just...
Do you remember what they were arguing over? Was it something pretty big? You said she had two boyfriends, so she had this guy Joseph and then
AJ, which is the guy AJ also mentioned.
Okay. So they were arguing over that, and then you ended up going over and talking to Joseph. How did your sister respond to that?
I ended up telling her. She was very, very upset. She heard the truth herself. Next thing I know, she kicked me out of the apartment that I paid. She was like, "You're not allowed here." I'm like, "Okay."
Was there more stuff between you and Devin that happened, or was it?
No, just between me and the guy that happened.
You and Joseph? Okay. You're leaving a lot out, so I don't want to assume anything. Did you end up starting a relationship with Joseph?
No, I didn't.
No, okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what more happened between you and Joseph?
Like I said, I went there because he was like, "Hey, I have some other stuff here. Can you get it? I want it out. I don't want to have anything to do with it." Went there. He was upset, so I just, sat down and talked to him. Because it was very late. It was like midnight. Ended up falling asleep. Woke up in his bed. You can imagine what happened. Okay.
Did Devin find out about that?
Yeah, I told him everything that happened.
Okay. Did anything else add to the move out in June? Move out of the apartment? Or was it basically everything that happened with Joseph?
No, it was all that happened.
Okay.
She texted our dad as well as his sister. And she said, I want Rose out. She said, Jason, she's like, I want Rose out. I don't care. She can live with you wherever. So, anyways.
So when you moved out of the apartment, where'd you go?
I stayed with my sister, and then I stayed with Jason.
Okay.
Lived here since then.
How did your sister respond to you then moving in with Jason?
Probably angry, but was she not angry?
How did you know she was angry?
Just like the little comments she would make. She had some things that accidentally left at our apartment. And she was just like, "Here, give this to your new girlfriend," or something like that. That's what I mean, like just little
snippy kind of
comments.
Okay. What were Jason's thoughts on it?
About
you living with him? I mean, were you guys in a relationship at that point?
Yeah, right away we were.
Right away. Okay. Is it safe to say that that's when the relationship started with you and him? When you moved in? And did he ever talk to you about how, if he had any feelings around the fact that you were Devin's sister?
Did it bother him? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That he was seeing his
Or did he have any feelings about it? Or was he just like, I don't care?
No, he's like,
Like, more or less, he just said he didn't care. Because he and Deb together. Right. Is that right? Okay. He's like 6, so he's been in the picture. Interesting. Okay. How was your and Jason's, I don't want to say call it a relationship, but, I mean, you obviously knew him a lot before you started the relationship.
Yeah, I know him at the beginning of this year, so.
Was that the first time you met him?
Yeah.
Even though they have a 6-year-old together?
Yeah, because like I said, our sister wasn't in our lives.
Okay.
For the 9 years until, for me, the beginning of this year.
Okay. Interesting.
So no, I had not met him so much.
Did she introduce you guys to each other? I mean, is that how you know each other, is through her?
When he would come to.
Yeah. When you lived with her?
When I lived with her, that's.
You crossed paths with him a couple of times when you lived with Devin, when he would come and pick up and do child exchanges.
Right, and then we would, all hang out together quite often.
So, do you know about when you moved in with Jason, more or less?
I started staying there January 26th.
And then you guys started that relationship right away, right?
Yes.
And who initiated that relationship? Like, what did that look like?
Both of us. Well, they were, like I said, on and off, and then I think completely stopped dating last year.
And I know this is probably not easy to talk about, but what was their relationship like that you know of? You know how they met?
I believe they met at the post office, which is where he works now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know that 2 months into them dating, that's when she got pregnant.
Oh, wow. Quick. Do you know why they were on and off again for that long?
Because she cheated.
That was the main source of their arguments in their relationship, because she was cheating on him. And did he tell you that, or did she tell you that?
No, they both did. There were a lot of disagreements.
As far as co-parenting?
Yes.
Anything stand out in your mind? Any big fights? Injuries, maybe that you've seen on either one of them?
No, absolutely.
Any police involvement that you're aware of?
No. She would always talk about him in a negative way.
How often did you and Devin talk once you and Jason got together?
She and I talked briefly about the apartment situation between her and I. Because, like I said, I was still paying for it, even though she would not. That was it, and then she hasn't contacted me since.
So that was a while ago. I mean, so you and Jason have kind of been living your relationship kind of life while he's still trying to co-parent with her. Meanwhile, you're not talking to her.
Right. I mean, of course, I knew everything with the co-parent, everything that was going on.
Jason talked to you a lot about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's my sister and my nephew.
Yeah, heavily involved, right? It's kind of hard to stay out of it, I bet. What kind of things did he talk about? What was going on?
She wouldn't communicate when it came to things such as birthday party or where to pick him up. Wouldn't communicate anything. He texted her and texted her and texted her, and she would not communicate. He had to guess every week where to pick him up.
How did he vent, Jason?
He just talk. It was never like a heated argument or anything. It was just, this is what she's doing. I'm sorry she's doing it. Those type of.
So he'd just talk to you about it. He wouldn't lash out at her or go drink, like violent, nothing like that.
He does not drink.
Not that
And he
kind
is
of
not
person.
violent. No, not at all. Okay. She showed up at his work, post office, one day. Apparently she was there to get her mail, which is illegal. She's not allowed to do it. And then his boss saw, or somebody in the facility saw her going through his stuff at his case. And she was like going through his jacket pockets and just looking around. We were gonna, try to follow through with that and see what she was doing. Of course, we don't know.
Mm-hmm. You were at the Longmont post office, right?
Right.
Like right over here on Kaufman? And where does she work?
I love the post office.
The issues with the child custody, that seems to be their biggest.
Mediation and stuff, 'cause he was trying to get more time as well as decision making.
So Jason was going to his lawyer to try to get.
Correct.
Did Devin know that he was contacting the lawyer to get more time?
As far as I'm aware, the lawyer did contact Devin.
Have you heard from anybody else that Jason got into an argument with anybody else? Was he upset over anything else? Not that you know of?
No, he really told me this.
Let's walk through today for you.
Okay.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just let me know if it's too much. Okay. Did you see Jason this morning? Okay. Walk me through your morning. What time did he wake up?
6:45.
Okay.
And then they both get ready, gets ready to go to work, ready to go to school. They leave by about 7:30, and then he texts me at 7:40, and then we just kind of texting back and forth because he was at work. And then he said he always stops by in the mornings because he always does a chunk of his route, and then he'll stop by. So he got there at about 10:20, and then he left at. We both left at 10:52. I got to work. He started doing his route. He was texting me, and he last texted at 11:46, and then I texted him at 12:30, and then texted him a few times after that, just asking if he was okay. And you just know immediately something's wrong. Even before I don't know, I just had this feeling. Police came to my work and they were talking to my boss. They were just telling her bits and pieces of kind of what was going on, but she didn't quite know. And then a friend of ours, she messaged me through Facebook and just was like, "Hey, are you okay?" Everyone else, like, "Yeah, what's wrong?" Anyway, so I called her and, she told me stuff. I'm so sorry you had to find out. From almost last night to, this morning, I just knew. I don't know why. I just knew, and even a few weeks before that, I was like, something is going to happen to him. And I don't know why. I was just like, I feel like Devin's going to be mad and she's going to try to do something. If I'm being honest, that's what I thought.
Can you tell me more about what maybe made you think that?
Because she's a horrible person. A few days ago, I was like, I feel like someone's just watching us. I just felt like someone was watching us. Mm-hmm. I would look for her car, I would look for her boyfriend's car, because I know what both of their cars look like. Their boyfriend cars. Of course, I never saw them, but I was just like, I just feel so uneasy about something. But yeah, he was worried because he was like, what is she doing? Why is she going through my stuff? Why is she here? And that was, like I said, about the third time she's gone into his work. In the past, this was before I lived with her, she kind of threatened Jason. She's like, well, if I don't remember what the threat was about. If you don't do this, AJ knows where you live and he has his guns.
After you got that phone call from your friend telling you what happened today, what were your thoughts?
I just can't stand the thought that he might, depends on how things go, end up with her because he can't, I'm telling you right now, he cannot be with her. He can't.
What do you think would happen?
He would come back with us the days Jason takes him out with bruises on him, and Jason would text her and say, hey, where are these bruises from? Never told. She would never tell him. And it worries me with her men there.
AJ
specifically AJ. He worries me the most. She's not a good parent at all. And I'm not just saying that just for the hell of it, she's not a good parent. That is something I noticed right off the bat as soon as I started living with her. So that was my first thought of worrying about. Of course, I had to tell him when they said he was shot. Of course, immediately thought of AJ.
Do you know if Devin has access to guns?
AJ gave her a gun once.
Anything specific about it? Was it colorful or just black?
She kept it in her glove compartment.
In her car?
In her car, yeah.
In the car that she drives now?
Mm-hmm. Her black Nissan.
Your phone number here, and it matches a contact that he has in his phone as basic.
That's me.
Okay.
She was gonna change that, but I was like, nope, I'm basic. Just keep me there.
We got no difference here.
It killed me because sometimes like on the weekend, I would go with him
To work?
on his route.
On his route? Was it the same route every day?
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, if I just see an image, I would know.
Yeah.
Even if it's blurry, I would know who it is.
That's good to know. So you think whoever did this to Jason, you'd be able to identify? No, you think it was somebody who targeted Jason? You don't think it was somebody random?
No, like I said, if I'm being honest, I think it came from her. And if it's the people I've met, of course, I would know if it's somebody random that she, let's say, hired. I don't know.
Because you've met both her boyfriends. You lived with her for a year or so.
Right, I know. Right, I know the people around her. But again, I would absolutely, like, even if it was one of her girlfriends, I would know.
So absolutely, in your mind, you think that this came from Devin, whether she did it herself or she had to
no
do it for her.
No doubt about it. Wow. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm telling you, she is a very horrible person. Aside from the people who work at the post office, nobody else knows his route. Nobody else knows he works there. Mm-hmm. It's only her, me, the people at the post office, her dad, whatever.
His name's the darkest one?
The Denkist.
Yes, okay, sorry.
We have very stupid names for each other.
Okay. Do you mind if I scroll up?
Oh yeah. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it was her. I'm not gonna lie. I would not put that one past her.
Yeah, for herself.
Yeah. She's just extremely angry with the fact that I have what she wants, which is a family, even though that was her choice, and she chose to leave, that family because she's that nasty. She would be like, you can't have what I want. When she's dating someone, or even if she's not dating them, she still considers them hers. And they're still her men. So even though she and Jason weren't together, she would, and this was before him and I were together, she would, say my men, and of course he was included in that. Meaning she doesn't like when someone else is with someone she was with.
She can't have him, then you
Nobody
can't have him. Yeah, I've heard that before. I'm a domestic violence detective. I hear it almost daily. We really do have the best of the best right now with the Longmont Police Department and above working on this case. We can try to get you guys some answers. It's not going to make anything better, but at least you guys will be able to have the tiny little amount of closure that we can try to give you.
During Rosa's interview, a team of investigators examined every car on video in the immediate area after the shooting. In the direction the shooter fled, police observed a black Nissan Rogue. The vehicle was missing the front right hubcap. Using the footage they had obtained, detectives tracked the vehicle as it exited the neighborhood. Following a DMV search, they determined that Devin owned a black Nissan Rogue. A license plate camera outside the development captured the Nissan. The license plate was a match for Devin's vehicle. Investigators wondered where Devin was and whether she had been driving that vehicle. Not wanting to tip her off, they contacted postal inspectors to help track her movements earlier in the day. Devin was a mail carrier for the Loveland Post Office. She worked roughly 20 miles north of the crime scene. Detectives learned that she was supposed to be in her mail truck working a delivery route in Loveland at the time of the shooting. A postal inspector pulled the GPS data from Devin's scanner. Detective Burke said the scanner showed her traveling along her mail route in the morning. However, later that day, her scanner was stationary for over 2 hours around the time of the shooting. As detectives and postal inspectors worked the case, Longmont police received a call from Devin Schreiner.
Hi, I was transferred to you. I was told that I needed to speak with you. I'm not really sure about, but I've been getting a lot of calls from past coworkers and people that I know saying that there may have been an accident with my son's father.
What's your name?
Devin Schreiner?
Okay. Yeah, there's been an incident, and so we're trying to figure out what's going on.
Can you tell me what's happening? Because everybody just keeps saying there's an accident, and my son is supposed to be with him right now. And he is 5 years old.
Yeah, we have this is here.
You have my son?
Yep. This is here. He's fine. Rosa came to pick him up because of what's going on.
So I don't understand why nobody called me.
Yeah, we're trying to find your contact information.
My contact information should be anywhere that my son's father is. I understand that we're not together, but I'm his mother, and I should have been contacted immediately.
I'm going to find out who was in charge of that and ask him what's going on with that.
Rosa is not his guardian. She should not be having custody of him right now.
We're not saying that she's having custody or anything like that. We just want out of there.
Was my son picked up from daycare?
Yes.
But what is happening? Where is my son's father?
Well, that's what we need to talk about. Are you able to come down to the police department?
You have my son. Yes, of course I'm coming down there. I am in Fort Collins. It'll take me a little bit of time to get there. Is Rosa still with him at this moment?
Yeah.
Does she need to be? She's my sister, and there's a lot of family issues with me and her going on that I don't want her with him. She's not his guardian.
Okay. All right. We won't let her leave with. So come on in, and we'll get it all straightened out.
Like I said, I'm leaving Fort Collins right now, so it'll be about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Is my son going to be okay until then?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I will be there as soon as I can then.
Okay. Thank you. Drive safe, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Upon her arrival at the Longmont Police Department, police ushered Devin to an interview room.
The previous officer that I spoke to on the phone said that he was with my sister, and she doesn't have custody of him either because she's not his guardian.
Okay.
So I need to know where my kid is, and I need to know what's happening because nobody's telling me anything.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know what's happening either. I just got here as well. I was just told come walk you in, so I'm sure they're bringing somebody down. We're going to tell you what's going to happen. Do you want to take a seat for a second? Do you have custody of your kiddo?
Me and his father shared half and half. Okay. I am worried about my son. He's 5 years old. And I don't think any of you have told him anything that's happened. I don't even know what's happened. Where is my son?
I can tell you everything. You're Devin?
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
I'm Steve. You can call me Steve. We gotta kind of step back here a little bit. I'm gonna tell you some bad news. Your ex-boyfriend, is it? Ex-husband?
I just call him my son's dad.
Son's dead.
We were never married, but
He died today.
what? How? What happened?
Someone shot him in the face.
In the face? Where?
On his postal route.
He was working today? He doesn't.
Yep. Yeah, he was working. And someone came up and shot him.
When did this happen?
12:32 today.
It is 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I got a lot to tell you, a lot to share with you. I want to tell you that your son's safe right now. But I want to read you your rights just so you know about it. Let you know that we're recording this because we have to. We have to record everything.
Read me my rights?
Yeah, just to get it out of the way.
For what reason?
Well, it's your son's dad died today, and so please typically look at the butler or the ex or somebody who owes him a lot of money. So we want to at least ask you some questions about him, do our due diligence. I don't think he has a butler, so we've got to rule the butler out. So we at least got to ask you some questions about how he died. Maybe you know something about it.
I was at work today.
Okay, perfect. You got a good excuse. Shouldn't be a big deal. I want to ask you about it. I want to exonerate you if possible, and then move on to the next suspect. I mean, I'm sure you're concerned about his death and you want it investigated fully. You don't want us to sweep anything under the rug.
No, of course not, but
in police investigations, this is like standard 101 stuff. You got to rule out the butler, you got to rule out the ex, you got to rule out the bookie who owes a lot of money to, and start working it. Could just be a random shooting, but we gotta do our due diligence and figure it out. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer prior to any questioning to have him or her. It's kind of sexist. Present during any questioning. If you desire the presence of a lawyer and cannot afford to hire one, the court will appoint one to represent you without any charge. You can decide any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Devin, do you understand these rights?
yes.
And having these rights in mind, can I talk to you now?
Yes.
So here's what's going on. We went out to the school and we said we don't want anyone picking up the child until we figure out who's who and who's safe, who we can release the child to. If the ex-husband shows up at the school and the wife's dead, we're not going to release the kid to the ex-husband who just killed the mother. You know, that's going to put the kid in harm's way. So that's just standard police 101 business.
But nobody called me.
Yeah.
When did you pick him up from school?
Probably about 3. The police escorted him back here, and Rosa was here as well.
Why? She is not his guardian.
No, she's not his guardian.
Okay, then why was she here?
We're not releasing her yet. We want to find out.
So she's with him? She's with my son?
We're all with. She's being interviewed by a detective because we're not sure who she is.
She's my sister.
The child is here. The child is being interviewed by a forensic interviewer.
He should not be interviewed because I didn't give consent for him to be spoken to.
He's a witness, so he doesn't need consent from the
Was he there? Was he in the...
But he's going to tell us about the relationship between you and his father. I'd like to exonerate you if you didn't have anything to do with this and get you out of this police department.
Yes, because I would like to see my son.
Let's go back a little bit so I can see who you are and see whether or not I can release the child to you. Do you know of anyone that want to get Jason in trouble?
In trouble? No.
Or out to get him? Want to shoot him?
No.
Nothing like that? Okay. Does it surprise you that someone would go up and shoot him?
Yes, it surprises me a lot. I didn't know, I don't know anybody that would want to hurt him.
How long have you known him?
I've known him since, I don't know, how old's my kid? He's almost 6, so, he was born in 15, so I've known him since, like, October, November of 2014.
How was your relationship?
It was never great. I mean, it started out okay, and then we had him, and I mean, it wasn't great. He left us when 6 months. He moved out, and we tried, I guess, a couple of times to work things out, but it never worked.
Okay.
I had filed a restraining order against him back in 2015, 2016 at the end or the beginning of the year. I don't remember. We had an altercation and I asked him to leave my house because he wasn't living there anymore, and he got a little physical while I was holding my son, and he was an infant at the time. And so I filed it to get him to back off a little bit, and when I went to make it permanent, they were like, you know how hard this is going to be, like, if you make it permanent, like, it's going to be really hard to do transitions because he has partial custody and all of this stuff, so that's going to be really hard, like, you understand that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was a new mom, like, I couldn't do it by myself, and
raising kids is tough.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't, hopefully that won't happen again, and so I didn't make it permanent.
There are some things that are really concerning me. We saw your car in the area of the crime scene. Your car was a Nissan Rogue that is missing a front passenger front hubcap. We got your car on a license plate reader a little while ago with your license plate, and it has that front passenger hubcap missing. Sure enough, in the videos around the crime scene, that car is there with that front passenger bumper or hubcap missing. You said you're at work today, but your scanner goes off before the homicide and turns back on well after the homicide. And they track your scanner that's used at work to your boyfriend's house, AJ. And we caught the shooting on one of the Nest doorbell cameras from across the street. So I'm really kind of concerned. I know that you got served just the other day with the child custody order, and you were a little upset about that. Why is your car in the crime scene area? Why are you in that area in your car, and why are you turning off your scanner?
I didn't turn off my scanner.
No, you did.
No, I
the
did not
postal inspectors are here.
turn off my scanner.
Or you didn't go with the scanner. The scanner is at your boyfriend's house, or somewhere in that area, in front of it, or in a bush somewhere in that area. It wasn't with you. Okay, they have a breadcrumb trail on GPS on your scanner.
Yes.
And the postal inspectors were here, and they said, before the homicide, you're not doing anything with the scanner. It's stationary for like 3 hours or more. And it should be mobile because you're working, but it's at your boyfriend's house. And why is your car in the crime scene area?
I don't.
We've got video of your car in the crime scene area.
I don't know why it would be on camera that my car was down there, but I don't.
Listen.
If I don't scan
packages,
then obviously I'm not doing that. But I did stop I did stop at his house for my lunch break, sort of.
Devin, I think you're a good person, but something's not right here. I think the gig is up. There's something weird going on here. Everything is pointing to you being involved in this shooting. People don't go around just shooting most of people. What's your involvement in this? Because I think there's a lot more than you're telling us. The video of the shooter looks kind of like you. It's from a distance, but it looks like your height and your build. It doesn't look like AJ's height and build. It doesn't look like Castaneda's height and build. It looks like your build with a black hoodie. Now, we're going to search your house. We're going to search your car. We're going to seize your car. We're going to do a gunshot residue test on you.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we're not going to leave any stone unturned, but we're going to get to the bottom of this. And this is your out to tell me what type of involvement you have, because it's very concerning. Your car being there, you turn your scanner, not bringing your scanner, the GPS not moving during the homicide. You're getting served just the other day with custody papers.
I got an email about it saying that they were going to file something.
You had served with some sort of court notice of changing custody, something.
Well, I just got an email saying that we were going to have to go to court for it.
Okay. So what's going on here? Are you behind this homicide? Is AJ behind the homicide?
I read on the way here about what happened, and they said that a man shot him.
That's what we originally thought. Yeah. Now we're thinking it could be you. We're thinking it could be maybe your boyfriend. Thank you. That's not the question. That's not the right answer.
What am I supposed to say?
We're trying to get all this evidence together. We're trying to put the pieces together. And I don't think you're being truthful with me. And I want to know why your car's there, why you're not using the scanner, why the scanner was left there. It looks like you're involved in this. So tell me why you're not involved in this. The whole thing about staying at your boyfriend's house for 3 hours doesn't seem very credible to me. So I'm asking you, did you have AJ do something? Do you think AJ was involved in something like this? Do you think
No.
Castaneda? Or if not, maybe it looks like it's you.
Castaneda, I don't.
The other boyfriend? Castaneda.
Well, I know who that is. I just don't understand how he's.
I don't know. One of your boyfriends. One of your associates. Someone killed your ex. We're going to do a gunshot residue test on you to see if you have any. When you fire a gun, all this gunshot powder comes out and it covers you. It covers your face, your hair, your clothes, your hands. Have you been around any guns lately? Have you been shooting anything lately?
No.
So we do a gunshot residue test that's going to come back negative?
It better.
I don't think this is a coincidence that your ex got shot in the face today. It looked like a hit. Looks like someone pulled up, ran out, shot him, ran back to the car, sped off, fired 5 times. He died right there. I want to exonerate you to have nothing to do with this. I don't want to arrest you if you didn't do this. Does that make sense? I don't want to arrest anyone that didn't do a crime. But your car is there. You left your scanner at your boyfriend's house. You said you were at work all day. You're not at work.
I am at work. I'm on my route.
For like 3 hours, you left your scanner there?
I stopped. I left it in the truck while I went into the house.
And then your car is in the crime scene. You know, that's a lot for a jury to try to swallow. We saw the car in the area, but there's also another car. So that's why I'm thinking maybe someone else is involved. Maybe things went a little too far, and you thought maybe your boyfriend was going to rough them up, and then, oh crap, your boyfriend shot someone. And maybe that's not what you were expecting. You got like 65 cops working on it, 65 detectives. We've got the whole postal investigation team here. We're going to find out about it. Now's your chance, if you didn't have anything to do with this, to come clean.
I understand why I would be a suspect because of who I am related to him.
And your car.
But I don't. There was things in the past that have happened with him and I that I could have gone to court, or I could have tried to call the police. I mean, I have, and it didn't help. But there's other things that I could have done. Why would I shoot him?
I don't let people ever shoot people. And I'm not saying you shot him. Maybe someone else shot him. Someone shot him 5 times in the face. That's kind of a lot of hatred. They didn't steal anything from him. Someone shot him because they're really upset with him. They shot him in cold blood. They shot him 5 times and let him bleed to death there. That's someone who knows this guy. And you know him very well. Why is your car in Longmont when your scanner is
I don't know. I am on my route working.
Do you work in a mail truck or your personal car?
No, I work in a mail truck.
So why is your car down here killing your ex?
I don't know. But it
you
sounds
understand
like...
why that's so concerning to me.
Yes, I do understand
so did
that.
Borrow your car? Help me out here.
I don't know, but it seems like with all of these things that you're going to be doing that I need to have a lawyer or ask for a lawyer, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say about that, but...
I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to apply for a search warrant to search you. I'm not going to ask you any more questions about this homicide. I'm going to treat you with respect and get that going. Okay?
So, Rosa's here, and is that it? Is she going through the same thing?
We've interviewed her. I don't know who's interviewing her, how they're acting her, what they've asked her, but her car is not in the scene. You said you don't want to talk to me and you want a lawyer, and I don't want to try to trick you and say, well, keep talking to me, keep asking me questions, and we're going to abuse your rights. If you want a lawyer, stop, and that's fine, but I don't want to violate your rights. I take your rights very seriously. So we're going to do a GSR kit. We're going to seize your clothing, and that could help exonerate you or implicate you in the crime. Hopefully it exonerates you and shows that you didn't do it. Hopefully this gunshot residue kit exonerates you and shows that you didn't do it. Your son is not going home with you. We're going to talk to the Department of Health and Human Services, have a social worker decide who should get the kid, because I'm not convinced that you're not involved in this.
My name's Ken, so I know you work for the post office and have worked for the post office. Mm-hmm. So because this is kind of postal related, you're working today, I wanted to chit chat with you about kind of what happened and some of your activities today, okay? I understand you may have been kind of done talking with the detective, but I wouldn't mind talking to you as an inspector to find out what's going on and what happened today.
You said you wanted a lawyer, but it wasn't clear. Do you want to talk to him or do you need a lawyer? Whatever you decide, I don't have any more questions for you, but I don't want you to waste your time.
Sure, yeah. We weren't sure because you were kind of deciding what you wanted to do, but I'd imagine this is the father of your child, so we're just trying to get this wrapped up. We're trying to figure out what happened today, okay? Right. So one of the things we do is talk to everybody that's around the person, anybody that they may have had a relationship with, either current or in the past. Obviously, you have a relationship with Jason. You guys have a child together, so you work for the post office, he worked at the post office. We came up here, we were notified by the police department about what happened, so we went out there and took a look at what happened, and we'd like to sit down and talk with you, okay? would you be comfortable with talking to me about just kind of your activities today? And if I get to a point or a part where you don't feel comfortable, just tell me I don't want to talk about that. I want to find out what happened.
Yes, of course I want to find out.
Well,
what
I'm
happened.
sure that you do.
That wasn't why I wasn't answering or wanting to talk anymore. The detective is saying that we're going to be doing all of these things that I don't understand. So I'm not.
And I think he didn't understand like the scanner thing, because I walked in a little bit and I heard you talking about the scanner and you were trying to correct him about kind of how the scanner works. So I thought, well, maybe if I come down there, you'd be maybe a little more comfortable talking to an inspector. And I'll explain everything like he has. I've been working, as an inspector for almost 20 years. So I'm just here to figure out how we can help you, how we can resolve this situation, how we can help Jason. Would you be willing to help me?
I mean, I will, as long as it doesn't get turned around what I'm saying.
I'm not going to turn around one thing you say. If I say something that sounds different than what you're trying to tell me.
Right, that's why I was correcting him, is because he said I turned off my scanner and I did not turn off my scanner.
Yeah, and he doesn't know how scanners work.
Right, I understand.
So it wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to, because we worked together before, he wasn't trying to pull any fast ones or anything. He just wasn't sure how it worked. So if it's okay with you, he's going to leave. I'm going to sit down with you. We'll keep talking. If you decide at any point you want to stop talking, just let me know that, okay? And what do you do up there? Are you a carrier?
I'm a rural carrier, yeah.
Okay. Where do you actually live?
I live in Fort Collins.
In Fort Collins? Do you live by yourself?
Yes, it's just me and my son.
Okay, so Jason normally drops them off for school?
Depending on whose day it is, yes.
Okay. When did you get to work?
I got to work about 7:45, 8 o'clock.
What route did you have today?
I had Route 14, but I'm assuming that you all know that since you checked the scanner.
I haven't personally checked it, so I don't know, honestly. I know that they pulled some scanner records, which I'll talk to you about here in a bit, but I wanted to make sure I found out what was going on because there's some kind of differing information. So I wanted to make sure I talked to you first, because obviously you know what you were doing today. Did you drive to work?
Yes.
Okay. Did you drive to work with anybody?
No.
Okay, so you drove by yourself. Did you call anybody on the way to work? Text anybody?
I texted my man in the morning.
Okay.
And then I talked to him throughout the day.
Okay, is this your boyfriend? Or your man?
We're not technically together, but yes.
Okay. What's his name?
AJ.
AJ? Okay. Is he a postal employee?
No.
Okay. How long have you dated AJ?
Like I said, we're not together at the moment, but...
Okay. You're just kind of off again, on again? Is that what I'm getting?
Kind of. We've been knowing each other for like 12 years.
Tell me about your day. So you started scanning packages, you started your route, and then what happened?
My guy, AJ, he lives on that route. And so, since Wednesdays are his day off, and things are very complicated with us, I try to see him on his day off.
Okay. So you stopped by on your route.
Yes.
Hang out with him. Did you do that today?
Yes, I do it every Wednesday.
Okay, every Wednesday, that's kind of your normal routine.
Yes.
What time did you get over to his place?
I don't know exactly when I got over there. I think I was a little bit ahead of schedule, so I was able to stop, and I was happy that I would be able to take a little bit more time to take a lunch and spend some time with him.
Did you go in?
Yes.
And was he there?
Yes.
Okay. Does he live by himself?
No.
Okay. Does he have kids or roommates?
He has kids and a ex-wife.
Oh, okay. So his ex-wife lives there. That's probably pretty complicated.
Hence the 1 day a week.
Oh, okay. Because she's not normally there on Wednesdays?
Well, not during the day.
Oh, okay. So was she there today then?
No.
Okay. So when you showed up, was he by himself? I worked a lot of different assignments and stuff like that, so nothing will surprise me. I mean, did you guys hook up? What'd you guys do? Just have lunch?
No, we just ate and talked and argued.
Okay. What'd you guys eat? How long would you say you were there?
Which is a very long time.
Okay, a very long time.
Normally I'm there about an hour and a half, but like I said, I wasn't too worried about it today because I didn't have to pick up my son. It wasn't my day to pick him up today, and I had some extra time. We have a lot of differing views on things, I guess, especially with his ex-wife living with him.
Okay. What did you do when you left his house? Did he go with you? You were in your postal vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys, what happened after that?
We argued for a while, and then he got angry and left, and I stayed in my truck, and I was very upset, so I was crying, and I was in my truck, and waited for a while until I was able to calm down.
Mm-hmm. What made you so upset this time as opposed to any other time?
Because I'm always upset.
Okay.
It's not any different.
But what car does he drive?
He drives a big Duramax truck.
Okay. Where did you go after that?
I just hung out for a little bit, and then I continued my route.
Did you stop anywhere else?
No, just did my route. I spoke to a coworker who was talking to me and just said, like, hey, did you hear that something had happened down in Longmont? Like, we heard that somebody that worked at the post office got hurt, and that was kind of it. We talked about the route, but we didn't. I think that was about it. He heard through the grapevine that somebody had gotten hurt in Longmont, and he asked if I had heard anything about that, and I said no, I did not. He didn't give me any specific details, and so I said that's terrible.
Did you ask him, hey, did you know if Jason was hurt?
No, he said, I hope that it's not somebody that you know, and I said, I hope not either. Do you know who it is? I didn't ask if he knew specific, or I didn't ask if it was Jason specifically, but I said, do you know who it was?
Okay.
And he said, no, nobody knows who it is.
Did you end up finishing your route?
Yes.
Okay. When you got back to the station, the post office, did you turn in your scanner?
Yes.
And then what happened after that?
I got a message from her saying, I just wanted to reach out, and if you need anything, let me know. And I was like, what do you need? Reach out. What is about what? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm just leaving work and I'm going home. I don't know how she found out before I even found out anything. She's like, I heard through my sources that still work at the post office that something happened to Jason, and you should probably call the daycare to make sure that it's okay if you don't have him. So I called the daycare on my way home. I was just trying to get a hold of people, and nobody was answering, and then I ended up calling here.
Did you ever try calling Jason to see if he was okay?
I did not try to call him.
Okay.
We have not spoken and been on speaking terms for a while.
Okay. So you got back in your Nissan. Was it was at the post office? You drove the Nissan from work to home?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else drive that vehicle, or is that just your car?
No, it's mine.
Are you the only one that has keys to the car?
Yeah. The original lady that told me, Stephanie, that something was going on, she ended up calling me again and just asking if I had gotten, and I said that the police have him, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and she said that for as far as she was aware, that yes, he was the one that was hurt, and that he didn't make it.
I'm sure that was pretty devastating news.
Yes. It's not going to be a secret that we don't get along, but I mean, I don't know if I can take care of a child by myself, and he's always been there to help, and he pays child support. Like, that helps me too. Like, we've had a lot of problems, but that he still helps me with our son. It was a lot to hear.
Did AJ know, or did you tell AJ?
No, I told him.
What did AJ say?
He was just as surprised as I was.
So after you left your house with the dog, where'd you go after that?
I was already on the phone with the detective, so I came straight here.
Okay.
I stopped and got gas, but I came straight here.
Okay. Where does AJ work? If we wanted to talk to him.
He works for the maximum security prison in Denver.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is he a guard?
He's a CO.
A CO? Correctional officer?
Yes.
Of course, being a law enforcement officer, he has a gun. Have you ever shot a gun before?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay. When's the last time you've ever shot a gun before?
Over a year ago.
Okay. And whose gun was that?
It was one of his.
Do you have your own weapons? You don't have any guns or anything of your own? Okay. How did it make you feel to find out that the father of your child was shot in the face with a gun?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I'm very upset about it. I know that, like I said, I know that we've had our issues, but.
Lots of people watch like Forensic Files and other shows. Have you ever seen anything like that on TV? You have. Like, what's your favorite like police show like that?
Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds. Okay. I like the first 48, but on those kind of shows, you understand that forensics are involved in different things. So what happens when a gun is fired? It's basically a mini explosion that's like happening right in front of your face. So what's typically going to happen is there's going to be like flashback of like debris, for lack of better words. Like I can't see it, you can't physically see it, but as soon as they put it under the microscope, they'll be able to see that. Would there be any reason when they put your clothes under a microscope, they're going to see any type of gunshot residue? And if they do, what would that mean?
Couldn't give you an answer to that.
Okay. So they can actually go in there with different tools and technologies and find like blood droplets that you can't even see with a regular microscope. It's like a forensic microscope. So what they're going to do is they're going to take a look at that. So I think probably what they're going to find is some of Jason's blood on your shoes. Would you agree with that?
On my shoes?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
agree with that.
Okay. How about on your clothes right here and on your pants?
No,
Are they going to find any blood droplets when they look at it with this like super sophisticated technology? And I want to give you the benefit of the doubt.
So you're not just a postal inspector? Yeah.
No, I'm a postal inspector. That's exactly what I am. Let me show you my, but they do have labs, and I know that they check people's clothing to either clear them. Okay, so no, I'm a postal inspector, so I wasn't lying to you about that by any means. They pulled surveillance video from a lot of different locations in the area.
Yes.
They actually captured what happened on one of the surveillance videos.
That's what the detective said.
Okay. They also captured the vehicle that was involved on the surveillance footage. And they captured the license plate.
Okay.
And it was your vehicle that was over there.
That's what the officer said.
Yeah. So I need to find out, honestly, what happened today.
That is also what the officer said.
So you do not seem like the type of person to me. And again, I just met you, and I just got on this, but you don't seem like a cold-blooded killer that's out been planning something for years and that this was your perfect opportunity. To me, based on what I've heard and from talking to you, this is something where something just snapped. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something out here. Just hold on. Where you were thinking about doing something like this for a long period of time. You weren't planning. I mean, it happened in the middle of the day. We had your car over there. You already told me you're the only person that drives that vehicle.
I also told you I was at work, and nobody seems to believe that
Okay.
either. So
No, we understand that you were at work for part of the time. I believe that.
I didn't say that either.
Say what?
I didn't say part of the time. I said I was at work all of the time.
Okay. Well, we understand that you work today. Okay. I don't want to get into the mix with you. But what I am trying to ask you is this. Your vehicle was over there where this happened at the time that it happened. We have witnesses and we have surveillance footage.
Right, and
We always-
I said
so-
to the detective, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, you don't have an answer. You have like zero answer? How do you think something like that could happen?
I don't know, and that is where I asked the detective to speak to a lawyer.
Do you think somebody stole your car?
Again, I'm going to ask to speak to a lawyer
Okay.
if we're going to continue with this questioning. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. If we don't talk about the car, you're fine to continue to help me with Jason. But you don't want to talk about the car.
I don't want to talk about something that you are saying is incriminating me.
Okay.
And I did not do this.
I'm just saying that the vehicle was there.
And I just said I don't have a response for it.
Okay.
I don't have an answer. I don't know how to tell you that
Well, I
the
guess
car was there while I was at work in Loveland.
Well, I'd like to know, who do you think would have done this to Jason?
I don't know who would have done this to Jason. I don't know his life anymore. I am no longer a part of it. He made that perfectly clear when he decided to, for lack of better words, sleep with my sister. And then I found out that she not only slept with my ex-boyfriend, but also with my son's dad.
Okay.
And I kicked her out, and I told her she was no longer allowed to live in my house if she was going to be that kind of person.
Do you need to use the restroom? And then
I mean, I do. I am also very concerned about my son. It is getting late, and I don't know where he is.
Why don't you use the restroom? I'll find out
Okay.
where he's at, ease your mind, and then we can reconvene.
Let's see, right hand. Just like this. And this one here is the face, so I'm going to do those areas on your face. Okay? You can just kind of pull back your hair a little bit. This. This my calling is a makeup check.
Here's the situation. I need you to go ahead and turn around for me. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Do not move, okay?
Am I under arrest then?
We'll discuss that here in just a second. Does it feel okay? Nothing's pinching or anything like that?
No.
So you are under arrest, okay? So we're going to take you downstairs. We are going to get your clothing and we'll let you go to the bathroom down there, okay?
They booked Devin for first-degree murder. Detectives then traveled to Loveland to speak with A.J. Ritchie. They asked him about his relationship with Devin Schreiner and whether he could verify her alibi. He told investigators he was home all morning and that Devin had stopped by at around 10:30 a.m. He indicated that the two of them argued about Devin wanting to be with him and him not wanting to be with her. He said Devin left around 12:15 p.m. He left shortly after and met his friends for lunch at Hooters at 12:30 p.m. Based on his timeline, Devin could not have been the shooter, as she wouldn't have had enough time to travel to Longmont and shoot Jason at 12:32 p.m. However, detectives noticed inconsistencies between AJ's and Devin's versions of events. They confirmed his alibi as he was on video at the restaurant when the shooting occurred. Detective Burke obtained search warrants for Devin's and AJ's cell phone records. They received the results rather quickly. On the day of the murder, Devin and AJ began their morning at Devin's residence. They traveled to the Loveland post office shortly before Devin's shift began. Devin's phone remained at the post office for around an hour before she left on her mail route. After AJ dropped Devin off at work, his phone showed him traveling to Longmont, near the Longmont post office where Jason worked. Detectives overlaid the GPS data from Jason's postal scanner with the cell phone location information from AJ's phone. AJ was on top of Jason almost the entire mail route. He had followed Jason around for 2 to 3 hours. AJ left the neighborhood in Longmont and quickly drove to the Hooters in Loveland. Investigators initially searched for AJ's black Chevy Silverado, but could not locate one in the neighborhood's surveillance videos. However, they found a black SUV with a distinct green and blue logo on the driver's door panel following Jason on his mail route. Detectives determined that it was a way-to-go rideshare vehicle. AJ worked as a federal correctional officer. They contacted his employer, and sure enough, they used way-to-go vehicles in their rideshare program. And AJ was the rideshare program coordinator. Investigators returned to AJ's home to ask him about the inconsistencies. He said he would have to speak to his lawyer before making a statement. However, he gave detectives consent to search his phone. They brought the phone to the station where technicians quickly analyzed it. Investigators found a screenshot of a Snapchat photo AJ had saved to the phone. The image showed an individual in a bathroom wearing similar clothing to that of the shooter. AJ screenshotted the photo 2 days before the murder. Within minutes of saving the first photo, he screenshotted a second image. That picture was in the same location. This time, it was clearly Devin Schreiner. Detectives went through their text messages to get a better read on Devin and AJ's relationship. It was clear that the two were in a romantic relationship. Their communications alluded to Devin's disdain about Jason dating her sister. In the messages, AJ floated the idea of killing Jason and Rosa. The phone records also showed an over 2-hour phone call between Devin and AJ while he followed Jason on his mail route. Investigators believed AJ acted as the lookout for Devin, updating her on his position so she would know where to find Jason. AJ's search history showed him researching postal scanners roughly a month before the shooting, likely attempting to establish Devin's alibi. Detectives felt they had enough information to confront AJ, so they interviewed him at his job at the federal prison.
How you doing, AJ? Good. You remember me, Chris Lucas, the postal inspector?
Yeah, Detective Burke, who's Longmont PD. Do you have any weapons on you, any knives, nothing like that? Okay. So, first off, it doesn't even matter the reason we're here, just the circumstances, the fact that we're at your place of work. I don't want you to feel like you're being coerced into talking to us, all right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to read you Miranda real quick, all right? Just to go through that. Do what?
Am I being arrested?
Right now, no. Do you understand your rights as I've just read them, okay? Having these rights in mind, all right, are you okay with me asking you some questions about some stuff that went on here this last week or so with Devin?
You can ask me questions while I'm planning to find my answer and stuff.
Okay, all right.
Kind of clean up some of the time and stuff. On Wednesday night, your wife's sitting next to us, and I know it's going to be hard to talk about multiple things. Am I correct?
Yeah, I had to talk to her about it the next day. I had to tell her that I was having an affair the next day.
Okay. So she now knows.
She's aware of the affair.
Okay. So we were talking about multiple things that day with Devin and her timeline. One of the things you told me is that she drives like a Nissan Rogue or Murano.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember, like, if we showed you a picture of her car, would you remember what it looks like?
So this is her car on a license plate reader back
That's
in
her
May.
car. That's her car.
This is down at the scene, the neighborhood of the shooting. You can see the time, 12:06.
Yeah, that's her car.
So originally you told us that she was up there at your house with you until 12:15 when you left to go to Hooters. Can you explain that?
She was not with me. I stayed the night
Okay.
at Devin's house. My wife thought I was okay.
So that's why you told us that, is to protect yourself from your wife. Or protect. So she didn't find out. So you're with Devin all night. You didn't want your wife to know. You left at 7 in the morning. Did you have any contact with her?
We talked on the phone.
What were the conversations like?
They're pretty normal conversations.
Okay.
Just kind of like what's going on with our day. We just stay on the phone. She wear her earbuds.
So you were on the phone for a while, a short time, multiple times?
Multiple times in quite a while.
Okay. Basically, you drive around, you're on the phone, then you go to Hooters, you have lunch. What do you do after that?
End up going home. I stayed at home after that, and then she came by to the bathroom and get some water at the end of her route when she goes to my neighborhood.
What time was that?
2-ish, I'm gonna say.
Okay. And then what happened after she got some water or used the bathroom?
And then she left and went back and finished her route.
Do you know where she was?
When we were talking, I believe she was doing her route.
Okay.
Did you drop her off at work? So on the morning of the 13th, you dropped her off at the post office. Okay. Did she ever bring her car over to your house after that?
Her car was parked by it was right up the road from my house.
So did you have to pick her back up from work afterwards so she could get her car?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you take her to work in your truck?
I took her to work, and we get cars from work.
Okay. Well, do you know what kind of car it was or anything?
It's a Durango.
Dodge Durango.
Oh, I saw it on the way in. Those they had like that
The way to
way
go or
to something logo on the side. One of those things. Okay. How do those work into the facility? Like how do you get one of those?
You have to be part of the van pool program, and then loan them out to us, and we drive them, and then the bureau pays money to basically subsidize it.
When you were driving around, were you talking on the phone? Were you in a truck or were you in Durango?
I switched my truck later on in the day.
To get your kids and stuff?
Yeah.
You've already indicated that you don't want to talk to us about a couple of things here. All right, so I'm going to show you a few things and see if you want to talk about it all, okay? Do you have any idea what that picture is right there?
Looks like GPS.
So those are phone signals coming from your phone down in the Longmont area in the same neighborhood as the shooting with location information for the mailman who was shot that morning. Alright? So we know that you were in Longmont that morning, and I'm not asking that because of you. I'm just asking that to further verify whether or not you had any idea where Devin was at that time. You already told me that you weren't with Devin at 12:15 like you had previously told us. Alright? So the reason I'm showing you this is because we can show that you weren't with Devin, and you can't obviously verify where she was.
What else did you want to show me?
You got nothing to say about this? That's off your phone. 2 days before this happened. Can you explain that? You're a smart guy. I think you know where we're going with this.
Yeah,
so if you want to give us answers, now's the time to give them to us.
She had told me that she had thought about doing this before. Actually, 3 days prior to that, she told me that she was going to do this, and I talked her out of it. That night, she was going to do it at his apartment. I talked her out of it. I had to go over there and do it face to face. This morning, she told me that she was going to do it, and she told me that she had already had everything that she needed to make it happen, and I tried to talk her out of it. Then she went to work and told me that there was no talking her out of it. After talking to her, and she's mentioned it in the past, she has talked about his route because she knows the Longmont routes. So I went out there, I knew his route number, I found him, and I continued to stay on the phone with her to try to tell her, try to talk her out of it. But I thought that she was going to go there a lot earlier than that. I thought that if I would see her, I could stop her. Eventually, she told me, you know what, don't worry about it, I'm not going to do it, it's fine, I'm going to go back to work, and she hung up the phone with me. At that point in time, I stopped over at his truck, and I told him that he should watch out for her, because I think she's planning on doing something. He just looked at me and goes, what? And I was like, Devin, I said, she's unstable right now, and I think that she's going to do something. And he said, I'm not scared of that bitch. And I said, okay. And I left.
Where did that conversation take place?
I don't remember the road. It was on the long straight road.
In Longmont?
Yeah. This is on his route. It was while he was telling her.
How long did that conversation take? How long were you there with her?
Not even 15 seconds. It was just, all I did was stop and say, hey. I said, you're pushing her over the edge. I said, I think that you should leave her alone. And he goes, what? And I said, Devin, I said, she's unstable right now. I think that you should leave her alone. And I said, I think she's going to hurt you. And he said, I'm not scared of that. And I said, okay. And I left. I went back to town and I had phone interviews. After hanging out with him for a bit, I headed home. And after I was home, she stopped by. I thought everything was good. She stopped by. And after she left was when I saw the articles coming. She called me right after that and told me something had happened to Jason. I said, call Longmont PD. And so she called Longmont PD and then she said that they wanted her to come in. And I said, we should probably go in.
So you know, based on what we're showing you, with a lot of data.
Yeah, I know it looks perfect.
Where'd the gun come from?
Explain this picture right here in the middle. What's the conversation around that?
So that was the 3 days prior when she told me that she was going to go over there in the middle of the night. Originally, her plan was she was going to take out Jason, Rosa, and herself. And I begged her not to. I obviously played on the don't take out yourself thing because I can't live without you. successful in not getting her to do it that night. Did you ever think about calling the police? Saying, hey, this is what's going on? She's been in this custody battle with him for 5 years, and it's not the first time she's mentioned it multiple times over 5 years. Obviously, it's a serious thing, but it was also just kind of banter. Like, anytime she was mad at him, it was he needs to go. Like, I need to do that. Usually play it off, or sometimes I play along a little bit, and then, yeah, he is a never thought that she'd actually do it. Even with all the text messages, and you have to go over there, you never thought she'd do it. She's also told us to enforce.
We got your phone records, we have her phone records. If this has happened multiple times where she's said that she's going to do this or she needs to do this, why don't we see any text of you telling her not to do this if you've begged and pleaded for her not to so many times?
Usually when I talk to her, I don't text all the time.
There's no documentation of you actually trying to calm her down from going to kill him, even though this has happened multiple times.
She never told me on text that she was going to do it either. Just talking.
I'm just trying to find stuff that's going to help you at this point, because you got to understand, you're telling me that, but I don't have evidence of that. Does that make sense?
Right. I really didn't think she was going to go through with it. When she hung up with me, she was going to go back to work. When she hung up with you, where was she? So, to do what she did. Okay. You don't know, though? Well, I don't know. She's never told me. But the evidence is there. What do you think should happen to someone who shoots somebody? It's tough. I've always been an advocate to that person, but in this case, my feelings about that person are different. So pretty sure I know what she's going to get. What about the people that help her? I didn't help her. This is the first time I had an affair. Well, it's the first time. First time you got caught? Yeah. You wanted to keep the affair? From my wife? From your wife. Okay, from your wife. Not necessarily keep the affair. No, that was over. Like, as soon as I saw it hit Newsbreak, I was like, well, that's I wasn't okay with that.
How long do you think you were following him for?
Most of the morning is when he started this route.
Okay.
Because she told me first thing in the morning when I dropped her off at work that was going to be the day.
Where did you find him? How long did you follow him for?
The trucks are numbered.
Yeah.
In front of the truck, she told me his route number.
Okay.
I knew which truck it was, so I waited out there to make sure that she would show up. Literally, I dropped her off and she was like, yeah, I'm going to do it today. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I got everything I need, I'm going to do it today. And I was like, do what? She was like, I'm going to get rid of Jason today. So I don't think that's a good idea. And she was like, no, I'm done with this. She said that he did something with their parenting agreement, that he was getting full custody, and that Rosa was going to step in and be the mom, and that that side of the family was going to be able to provide better for her. She was going to be able to.
Where all did you go?
Nowhere, I just followed him.
Okay.
I figured if I saw her car, then I could stop her. Eventually, she said, okay, and she's like, don't worry about it. It's done. I'm going back to work. I said, okay. She hung up the phone. And something that was kind of weird. I was just like, she just stopped. She was like, okay, you win. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, you've never given up on anything that easy before. And so I decided to just give him a little warning and went back home.
You pick her up from work and you know at this point that she just shot and killed somebody.
I don't know, but I saw it on Newsbreak that
the
postal worker was her, and then she told me that her friend said it was Jason. Putting two and two together.
You picked her up from work?
Oh, and I just dropped her back off where her car was, and I told her I didn't want to talk to her.
So no conversation? So she's just quiet?
I mean, she was going on about where her kid is. I let her vent about her kid, and then my recommendation was to call Mama, and she ended up doing that. I know how it's looking right now. I know that I didn't do it. So I guess that wasn't my concern. My concern was my marriage. Sure. Well, now I've come clean. I've told you. And now everything I've said is truthful. Kind of making the assumption that I might be arrested today. So,
Just, I'll be 100% honest with you. That's why he's on the phone.
I'm making the assumption that I detain you right now.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you
The only
this.
reason I'm asking is because then I can go out and take myself off. I'll just stand next to your car if I have to. I don't want to do the walk of shame in front of my coworker.
I get that. I get that. I mean, you are not being detained right now. We are talking to you. If you want to get up and walk out there, I'm not going to stop you right now. I can't tell you that you wouldn't be arrested or that you would because I don't know at this point.
I'm just going to go take myself off and stand next to your car.
I'm not going to stop you right now, but I'm going to go tell him that's what you want to do. You were just told out there the body cam's going, and you're being detained officially now. So, keep that in mind, even with Miranda and all that.
If I'm arrested, where will be taking me?
I don't know. My guess would be Boulder County.
I don't think I can go there.
Why?
Because I know over half a dozen staff there.
Okay. I don't know. Is the true answer? We may go back to the PD to figure all that out.
I know a bunch of staff there, so I don't know if that's an issue or not. It's definitely going to be an issue for me.
But you didn't feel like it was serious enough to notify the police, say, hey, she's going to kill this guy. Why didn't you tell anyone?
Hindsight's 2020, but I thought I could talk her down again. I talked her down prior to this. She's had a lot of depression issues. She sees a therapist about it. She definitely is bipolar. She'll flip on me.
Yeah.
But whenever we're face to face, she calms down. I thought if I saw her, I could calm her down, and she would do it. She would snap out of it.
You were on the phone with her for like 2 hours and 40 minutes while you were down there in the neighborhood. So what are you talking about during that time?
I'm trying to talk her out of it.
You're trying to talk her out of coming down to where you are and killing someone.
I mean, when you put it that way, yes, it wasn't necessarily where I am, because I guess that was... She didn't know I was there. Like, I'm just trying to talk her out of it.
But she knew you weren't at your house because she stopped by at your house. So she didn't ask you where you were? What did you tell her when she asked you where you were?
She did ask me where I was.
Okay, what did you tell her?
I told her I was out at lunch with my friends.
Okay. At lunch at 9 in the morning? She believed that you were at Hooters at 9 in the morning?
She believes that I was with my friends at 9 in the morning. She never told me that she did it.
Okay. If I'm supposed to believe what you're telling me is true, you're saying that you went all the way, you believed it so much to the extent that you went all the way down to Longmont after you had spent the night with her to go down there and sit and follow a mail truck around for 2 or 3 hours. That's how much you believed it. And you didn't tell anyone else. That's what I'm supposed to believe?
I know that I didn't do that on purpose, and I know that the evidence doesn't necessarily say otherwise. But I also know that I've never been complicit with it, and I've never told her that I want her to do it, and I've never been okay with it. So,
all right, you're under arrest. Go ahead and stand up. Place your hands behind your back.
Is it possible to do that out in the parking lot?
No, stand up for me.
Police booked AJ for first-degree murder.
Are you okay? What's wrong?
There's more news today.
What happened?
AJ is telling them everything, as well as they found a picture of you in the outfit.
What did he say?
That he tried to talk you down, and this had been going on for a while, and he tried to warn Jason.
Sorry you had to hear all that on the news.
Besides the picture of you in the same outfit that happened that day, he's also stating that you said today's the day and you have everything you need on the day when he dropped you off to work.
Interesting.
I wasn't going to talk about it. I don't know.
Okay?
No.
I'm sorry you're hurting. I love you.
I love you too. I'll still call you every day though.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
I can't abandon you.
I wouldn't love you any less if you did. What can I do?
Can you time travel?
There's a lot of things I'd time travel back to if I could. Believe me.
AJ is just pretty much, sounds like he's trying to save his own skin.
Well, he wouldn't be him if he didn't.
No, I'm just gonna have to wait 25 years, at least.
You know that's not the maximum sentence, right?
I said at least.
I just worry. You know I worry about you too, of course.
I don't want to live without you.
I don't want to live without you either. Not that this is living, but... Oh, my love. Maybe. Thanks.
Of course.
Lori said that she felt bewildered, sad, and mad. She said she didn't understand why Devin would do that to him. Chris said that it was mind-boggling that she would put so much effort and thought into killing their son, but never thought about how it would affect her son. In February of 2023, Devin went on trial. Following her 5-day trial, the jury convicted her of first-degree murder within 8 hours. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without parole. 6 months later, AJ's trial began. His trial ended in the same conclusion, guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. Lori created a memorial for Jason at the house where he grew up. She said that he was a good kid and her hero. For more videos of cases never seen on YouTube, click one of the videos on screen now or the links in the pinned comment. Goodbye for now.